Okay, so I'm going to create a very simple Photoshop file or image that I would like to use on my website. So the first thing I'm going to do is obviously open up Photoshop, and from there, if I click on File, New, let's call this one, let's just call it Image, and it will ask me for a size of the image. Now 600 by 300 pixels, that's probably about half the size of your screen. So if you'd like it to be smaller, you can of course make it smaller. Let's do mine 300 by 200, sort of rectangular shape. Try to make sure that you've got pixels chosen here, and also the color mode should be RGB, which means you have all of the colors at your disposal. So we click OK. Before actually I do that, it's worth noting you can make the background transparent. I'll just stick to white for now. So there is my image. That's the actual size that it will be. So it's a fairly small image. You can change that though. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get an image. So let's say that my website is all about food. Here we go. So I'm going to take this picture. It should just let me copy and then paste. There we go. That's quite a good size as well. If you want to zoom in, you can change the zoom here or press Ctrl and plus on the keyboard. Now when you zoom in, it will become a little bit pixelated. That's the actual image size. So when I zoom in, it will become a little bit distorted. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to add some text to this. And this allows you to put text anywhere. So I'll just keep it very basic for now. So you click on the text tool, and then you start typing the text on the image, and then press the tick when you're happy. You can then use this tool over here to pick up and move the text. One of the really good things about Photoshop though is the built-in filters that it has. So if I right click on my text layer, you can see I've got the image layer and the text layer. If I right click and go to blending options, I can then put on top of that text a stroke. And if I click on stroke, I can get some more options. So for example, I could have a white stroke, which then makes the text stand out more, or red or blue, anything I like really, you get the idea. But white works quite nice. And then the text will stand out a little bit more. The other thing I'll show you in this tutorial very quickly is if you click on layer 1 and then blending options. So for the image, I can do a whole bunch of different, I can work with a whole bunch of different options here. So I've got patterns, which I can then make a little bit opaque so you can see through them. That's not brilliant. I can give things like shadows. They work better on normal rectangles rather than images though. Gradient overlay, that works quite nice on an image, and you can of course choose your colours. You don't have to choose these preset colours, but you can do a whole bunch of different colour overlays as well. And when you finish, you click OK. And there's really just one last thing for this. When it comes to saving, you need to save once as a Photoshop file. So I'll click Save. OK. But in order for this to work on your website, you will need to save it for the web. So you click on Save for Web. The default is GIF. You can choose JPEG, which a lot of you will be familiar with, and then you click Save. So now you're going to have two versions of your image. One that's a Photoshop file, and the other really important version is the JPEG. And then you can go and insert that into your website.